So I had started cutting these a while back, and I think it was actually a quilt for my husband, but I ended up not finishing it, or I didn't even start it. But anyway, so I cut some of them, the rest of them, and this plain blue, and then this kind of gray and white, and then I don't even know what this is called. But I think these were remnants that I got at Joann's. So anyway, I was going to just do a basic, easy, simple block quilt like I did for my first one. I would like to do something fancy, not fancy, but a little bit different, but I just don't have the time. He's going back to school in 2 days, and I just don't have the time. I need to finish this before he leaves so he can take it with him, because I really don't want to have to mail it. So anyway, so I am working on that today. And let's see. Oh, I also wanted to make my girls a pair of mittens. The ones that I had crocheted for them, they've grown out of, so they can just barely fit their hand in there. So I found a tutorial for knit mittens on YouTube, so I've been following along with that. So hopefully I can get those done, but I will show those. And then I have a couple other odds and ends to share with you, so stick around. Okay, so day one, I chose the fabric that I was going to use in the quilt. Like I said, some of the blocks were already cut, some of them were not, so I went ahead and finished cutting all the blocks out, and then I placed them out on the floor, and I will pop in a picture about that, just of where I wanted them to go. Some of them needed ironing, some of them didn't, but I just went ahead and ironed all of them. So that was day one. Day two, I am sewing these blocks into strips. So I just finished sewing all of these into five block strips. So the next thing I'm going to do is lay them out on the floor and kind of place them where I want them, and then I can start sewing the strips together. So the top of the quilt doesn't take that long once you have your fabric cut into either blocks or strips.
You have it a million times.
It's the ironing that takes the time. Cutting them takes the time, but sewing them really doesn't take that long. And then piecing it together. Now the backing, I'm going to do the same as I did my other quilt. I'm just going to get some big pieces of remnants and just piece them together. I still need to iron those though. So anyway, yeah, I don't know how many strips I have. Let me count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So I have 9 strips of 5. So we'll see what kind of a quilt, how big of a quilt this makes. Okay, so I put the back together. This is the front. And I am now pinning it every other square and just rolling it up. And then I will do the binding. So we'll see how it turns out. You want to make sure you pin through all 3 layers because you've got the front, you've got the batting, and then this is the back. So you want to make sure you've got big pins so you can pin through all 3 layers. And this just holds it in place while you're sewing. You got to make sure it's all straightened out and not bunched up, which it was earlier, and it may be again. So that's what we're doing so far. Okay, so this is, let's see, Thursday, but it's day 3 of working on my son's quilt. I did not get to work on it at all yesterday. It was a long day. I had to work, and then we had lots of things going on. So I'm like speed making this quilt because he is leaving for college tomorrow. So what I did when I got home from work today, I already had the top of the quilt. This is the top. I already had that done. So what I did is I just put in the binding, not the binding, I'm sorry, the batting. The batting, and then I sewed together just big pieces. Again, this is what I found in the remnants at Joann's, I believe it was. So it's 4 big pieces. I don't know if you can see it through the ironing board, but there's like a plaid, a dark blue, this is a very light gray, and then some stripes. So it's 4 big pieces. I'm not sure the exact measurements. I pieced them together, and I left about a 2-inch, let me see if the camera can get that, about a 2-inch border all the way around. What I'm going to do is I'm going to fold this over, and I'm going to make this the binding instead of trying to make my own binding and putting it on. I think this might be an easier way. I learned from my aunt and her quilting group. So the other thing I did, I went through and pinned it. So I pinned through all 3 layers. I pinned through the top, the batting, and the back. So you want to make sure you go through all 3 layers when you're pinning. And the first row, I did pin every single block. I don't know if you can see that. And the other rows I went every other. And then the row at the back, or the first row in the back, I pinned all the way across. This just holds everything together while you're sewing. And then I will be tying this quilt. If you don't know what tying is, it's basically going in each block with yarn and basically tying it, tying the 3 layers together. Instead of doing some quilting or embroidery, the tying I like better. It looks more old-fashioned. So anyway, and I'm trying to do this, like I said, super quick. So not everything has turned out exactly the way I wanted it to, and I would like to redo some things, but I simply do not have the time. I don't want to have to mail this down to my son. I want him to be able to take it with him. So I'm going to just speed through it and let him take it home, or take it to college with him. So anyway, all right. I will show you once I'm able to work on it some more. And hopefully I don't have to stay up till midnight tonight to get it done. Okay, so I pulled this table out of the garage and I put the quilt on it long ways. I'm going to take these pins out and I'm going to start tying it with this yarn. So my son chose this dark gray, which I think looks excellent with this blanket, and I'm going to tie either every square or every other square, and then I will lastly do the binding. So I'm going to try to finish this up. back of the quilt looks like. After I tied it, you can see these are the tie marks, and it kind of looks like a back of a mattress. But I just put some pieces of fabric together, sewed them together, and that's the back. Here it is finished. It is 10 minutes to 10 and I finished my son's quilt. So here it is. I did trim the little ties to make them shorter. You don't want them too short because you want to be able to retie them if they do come untied. I did the binding and I did go around it, the border twice. Just for extra security. So here it is. And like I said, it didn't turn out exactly the way I planned. I would redo it if I had the time, but I don't. And he likes it, he's happy with it, so that's fine with me. So, this is the backing. So my other quilt, I put the top and the back together with the batting in between, and then I tried to do the binding by just cutting long strips and folding it under. This time, or this way, I did the quilt top and then I did the batting, and then the back I actually made it about 2 inches bigger all the way around and just folded it under and stitched, top stitched all the way around. I think that's easier. It's a lot easier than trying to cut strips and match everything, and in my opinion. But anyway, I think it's beautiful. I can't believe I did it in 3 days. I did it in 3 days. So now I just need to finish my fall quilt, and then maybe I can make the quilts for my girls.